These are the 5 things that told me I was ready to retire. It's not about the number, it's about the fear. Fear of the bills, fear of losing insurance, fear of running out of money. Because if you still live with that fear, you'll never be able to rest. First things first is I figured out health insurance. This is the one that stops almost everyone. I get tons of questions in my comments about this very thing. When I left my job, my employer automatically continued my insurance for another 30 days. This is what gave me some time to research my options. And it meant that I wasn't panicking, juggling trying to finish up my job and searching for healthcare at the same time. During that month, I took my notebook and I wrote down every possible path. The first path was COBRA. It lets you keep your employer insurance for up to 18 months. You get the same coverage, keep the same doctors, but you pay the premium entirely by yourself. For me, that would have been $1,100 a month, and I just couldn't justify it. COBRA is like staying in a luxury hotel because you're scared to leave. There's a second option, a spouse's plan. This wouldn't work for me because I'm not married, but for some people, that's the easiest route. You can hop on to your spouse's employer plan during a qualifying life event, such as leaving your job. The third option is the one that I went with, which is the healthcare.gov marketplace. I found a plan for $400 a month with a $6,000 deductible, which meant I would have to pay all costs up to that amount. And the great thing about it was that all of my doctors accepted that plan. So I didn't have to change a thing. The sign-up process was pretty simple. I just went to the marketplace website for my state, entered my details, and picked the plan that allowed me to keep all of my providers. Nothing about my life would have to change with regard to my healthcare after I left my job. And that's when it hit me. The idea of losing healthcare was scarier than the reality of replacing it. And I think that's true for a lot of things in retirement. The fear feels bigger until you face it. Once I had my health insurance figured out, I slept like a baby. That's when I started to believe that this might really work out for me. The second sign that I was financially ready to retire at 48 is that I'm almost completely debt-free. Debt is like background noise. You learn to live with it like a refrigerator hum, but it's always there. And when I paid almost all of that off, it's like someone turned off that sound. I paid off my car within 3 years. I paid off my student loans with the proceeds of selling my first house. And from that point on, I made a rule. If I couldn't buy it with cash, I didn't need it. Now, yes, I still have a mortgage as well as a home equity line of credit. But because I house hack, I live in one of my investment properties. My Airbnb guests cover those payments. So in all practicality, I am debt-free. And that's the difference between wanting to retire and being ready to. Because it's not just about paying off a loan. It's about clearing the mental clutter that debt creates. That low hum of, what if something goes wrong? And because that noise stopped, I could hear myself think. The third sign that I was financially ready to retire at 48 is that I have a low cost of living. This is the unsexy secret to early retirement. People love to ask, how much is your portfolio worth? How much do you withdraw every month? But the real question is, how much do you need to live? Because you can't out-earn a bad spending habit. Keeping my cost of living low is like lowering the bar that you have to jump over. I don't need to make more. I just needed less to live well. And that is what changed everything for me. Since I have no debt, my recurring expenses are very simple. Groceries, utilities, cell phone, and the occasional date night. And I don't feel deprived, I do feel intentional. If I want new clothes, I buy them, but I don't chase trends, just get what I actually wear. When we go out, we usually do breakfast dates. I love breakfast. 2 plates at a diner, some coffee, and you've spent less than $30. It's easy and relaxed, yet it's still a treat. We stopped paying for most streaming services too. Instead, we started collecting used $1 DVDs. We now have this big shelf of old movies. Sleepless in Seattle, The Bourne Identity, Julie and Julia. Every night we pick one and it's a ritual. That simple change saved us $100 a month. But it also gave us a sense of nostalgia and routine that streaming never did. If we need to get out of the house, we go for a walk downtown or through the park. It costs nothing and it's actually our favorite part of the day. It's funny because I used to think that freedom was having enough money to buy anything. And now I think that freedom is not wanting most of those things. When you stop chasing more, you notice how much you already have. And that's what low cost of living gets you: peace. And that space becomes your safety net. The fourth sign that I was financially ready to retire early at 48 is that I'm virtually mortgage free. This one still feels like magic every time I say it, but I live in one of my rental properties. Because we live in one half of a duplex and rent out the other half, instead of paying $2,500 a month for housing, that same roof now pays me. And that short-term rental earns about $4,000 a month from that property alone. And every time I realize that, I just laugh, because I literally don't pay to live in my beautiful home. It feels like I found a glitch in the matrix. And that's when I became obsessed with house hacking, because it's not just a financial trick, it's a mindset trick. It's realizing your home doesn't have to drain you, it can sustain you. That's when I realized when you understand how money actually works, it starts to work for you. Most people think of a home as an expense, but if you set it up right, it can become income instead. And once your housing costs disappear, everything feels lighter. You don't wake up with that monthly pressure sitting on your chest. You start thinking about what's possible instead of what's due. The fifth sign that I was financially ready to retire early at 48 was that I had multiple streams of income. By the time I left my job, I wasn't relying on one income anymore. I had built a small ecosystem that could support itself. The rental property we live in pays us. So do the 4 other Airbnbs. And now my YouTube channel is officially monetized. A new small but meaningful income stream. Each one isn't huge, but when pulled together, they create balance. I'm not super rich, but I'm calm. And calm to me is the new rich. Because calm is what lets you think clearly, create freely, and live intentionally. Multiple income streams gave me that calm. And if I ever decide to do something new, travel, start another business, or move abroad, I can, because the system I created doesn't rely on me clocking in. That's the moment I knew I was free. Looking back, I realized something. Being ready to retire wasn't about hitting a specific number. It was about having safety nets that didn't rely on any employer. Health insurance gave me security. Being debt-free gave me calm. A low cost of living gave me flexibility. House hacking gave me cash flow. Multiple income streams gave me balance. Together, they created a life that didn't fall apart when one thing changed. Because that's what financial freedom really is. It's not about never working again. It's about never needing to work again. When you stop working out of fear, you start working out of curiosity. And that is when life opens up. If I could go back, I would tell my younger self, don't just build wealth, build stability. Because stability feels like peace. And peace is the whole point. So that's how I knew I was financially ready to retire. Not because I had millions in the bank, I didn't, but because I had a system that supported me, even if nothing went perfectly. If you've been thinking about retiring early, ask yourself, which of these 5 that I talked about today would make you feel ready? Because once you realize you don't need a big life to live a good one, that's when you'll finally be ready too. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.